of this event. It's not everybody who gets the opportunity to have the 204 come and sit through several hours of an award ceremony. Nana, we thank you very much. Let me also commend the president of the GJA, the only person who is the president of the president. He's my president because I've been a long-standing member of the Ghana Journalists Association. I want to congratulate Albert Jumfo on his re-election for a second term as GJA president and for the wonderful work that he's been doing. He's raised the level of the GJA and he's made all of us members proud of the GJA. I was asking him whether he was going to amend the constitution to be able to run a third term. So thank you very much, His Lordship, the Acting Chief Justice, and the senior ministers of state, our sponsors, KGL, and all our security services, IGP, members of parliament, and members of the media fraternity. I want to say it's with great pride that I stand before you today, not only as President of the Republic, but also as a dedicated and proud member of the Ghana Journalists Association. The GJA has over the years been more than just a professional organization. It has served as a crucial pillar in developing our democratic landscape, enhancing accountability, and advocating for those often unheard in our national conversations. The brave effort of Ghanaian journalists have guaranteed that our nation remains committed to the ideals of transparency, justice, and truth. Through your vigilance, issues that might have stayed hidden have been exposed. Through your dedication, leaders like myself included are reminded that public office is a trust and not a privilege. The framers of our 1992 Constitution recognized the essential role of the media in our democracy, and that is why they dedicated an entire chapter, chapter 12, to the freedom and independence of the press. In doing so, they placed journalism at the center of our democratic experiment. The media is not just a bystander in national life. It is an institution of state, constitutionally protected, whose vitality shapes the quality of our democracy. If I were to give a brief review to those who wrote the Constitution in 1992, I would happily state to them that through their work, the producers, reporters, editors, videographers, anchors, bloggers, and designers, this sacred duty that they gave them is being carried out with increasing excellence and renewed relevance each year. The media have bridged the gap between the governed and the governors, fostered civic awareness, and held the mighty and powerful to account. However, I must also recognize areas of concern. The decline in our press freedom rankings is a worrying concern to all of us. The increasing threats against journalists and the rising culture of misinformation. Ghana's record on the Press Freedom Index has deteriorated. In 2016 and 2017, we stood tall as a beacon of media independence in Africa. Our journalists worked without fear. The public debate thrived. In recent years, I must say that promise has faded. The 2025 Press Freedom Index, reflecting the conditions of the press in 2024, recorded another unfortunate decline, signaling that our recovery remains fragile. Ghana therefore faces a defining choice: to accept this gradual slide or to consciously reclaim our place as Africa's torchbearer of media freedom. My administration has chosen the latter. We're dedicated to restoring the spirit of pre-2017, when freedom of expression, institutional respect, and journalistic safety characterize the Ghanaian democratic experience. I recall that during your visit to the presidency, the GJA urged me to expedite investigations into acts of violence that took place during the 2020 and 2024 elections, causing death and harm to some of our compatriots, including journalists. I'm pleased to report that the investigations are complete. A total of 21 individuals have been identified, 4 have been arrested and released on bail, 5 remain on remand, and warrants have been issued for the remaining suspects. The Attorney General is currently reviewing the report to determine the appropriate legal action and appropriate compensations for victims or their families. Justice will be pursued under the law. The victims deserve closure, and the perpetrators will face the consequences of their actions. I've also directed the Minister responsible for government communications and the Minister responsible for national security to create a permanent forum for constructive engagement between the security services and the media to foster mutual respect and prevent such future incidents. Let me be unequivocal. Under my leadership, this government will neither sanction nor tolerate any form of intimidation, interference, or attacks on journalists. But my colleagues of the GJA, freedom must be balanced with responsibility. The credibility of journalism depends on our integrity, accuracy, and fairness. Too often, the race to break the story first results in unverified publications and damage to reputations of persons. We need to strengthen both internal and cross-media systems for verifying stories and making corrections. Just as colleagues accept peer review, we as journalists should also adopt peer accountability. If one platform misreports, others have a duty to correct. The integrity of the media must be safeguarded from both external interference and internal decay. When falsehood flourishes, democracy suffers. When sensationalism displaces substance, citizens lose trust. Friends of the media, Your Royal Majesty, the need for responsible regulation is real. The same digital tools that democratize information now also enable hate, defamation, impersonation, and cyberbullying. Therefore, the Cybersecurity Amendment Bill 2025 and the Misinformation and Disinformation Bill currently before Parliament are not meant to restrict expression, but to safeguard citizens and uphold truth in the digital realm. I recognize that the GJA and civil society have raised some legitimate concerns. Let me assure you that these concerns will be addressed transparently and constructively. Our aim is to extend the ethical standards of traditional journalism into the digital space without infringing on constitutional freedoms. Freedom of expression does not include freedom to ruin reputations. Freedom of expression does not include freedom to threaten lives or incite violence. And as I've often said, the boundaries of free speech is speech that endangers peace and human dignity. My administration will continue engaging directly with the media. The interactive session I held on 10th September marked the beginning of a series of regular dialogues between the presidency and the Ghanaian media. The next such interaction will take place next year to commemorate the first anniversary of my government. We're also reactivating the Media Development Fund after extensive consultation with stakeholders. The fund will support capacity building, welfare, investigative journalism, digital literacy, and safety training, ensuring that journalists can work confidently competently, and securely. The theme of tonight's event reminds us that protecting Ghana's future requires a united stand against illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. This is not a matter of convenience, it is essential for our very survival as a nation. The fight against illegal mining is complex and challenging. Illegal mining has so deeply ingrained itself in the fabric of our society that despite the obvious damage it causes to our environment, entire communities mobilize and confront security personnel when they arrive to combat illegal mining operations in their areas. Only yesterday, I received news of an accident in which some journalists were injured as they retreated from a community mob attack on EPA officials and security officers. I wish to notify communities that attack public officials and security personnel performing their lawful duties that firm action will be taken against them. Yesterday, upon receipt of the news, I instructed the Chief of Staff to contact the journalists who were injured to check on their health and assist with settling any hospital bills incurred. I can understand that our young people have been deprived of opportunity over the years, but destroying the environment is like cutting off your nose to spite your face. The government is working hard to stabilize and grow the economy in order to create a conducive environment for job creation and employment. And that is why we're implementing the 24-hour economy initiative, the Feed Ghana program, the Poultry Revitalization Program, the National Apprenticeship Program, the Million Coders Program, amongst many others, which are intended to create opportunities for alternative livelihoods, especially for our young people in rural areas. Additionally, through the Tree for Life Reforestation Program and the Blue Water Guards Initiative, we are restoring degraded lands and protecting our river bodies, while creating thousands of jobs for young people in affected communities. I've asked the Minister of Finance to increase the budget allocation so we can recruit more youth into forest replanting and Blue River Guards to safeguard our water bodies. These youth are to be recruited from communities that are affected by illegal mining and will receive a monthly stipend of 1,500 Ghana cedis every month. I wish to commend journalists like Erastus Asaridonko and my dear brother Ohiming, who won the Best Reporter on Illegal Mining, and many others who persist in exposing environmental crime at great personal risk to themselves. Your bravery is noted, it is patriotic, and your efforts strengthen our moral reserve to continue the fight against illegal mining. I wish to assure you as your president that I will never give up the fight. We do have some good news though. The EPA has begun a pilot reclamation of some mined-out lands under a PPP model. I'm pleased to inform that the first pilot covers an area of 1,000 hectares of land. The reclaimed land is to be replanted with fast-growing trees and some economic tree species such as oil palm. If this is successful, we estimate that about 30,000 hectares of land have been destroyed by illegal mining. If it's to be successful, we'll continue it to cover the 30,000 hectares of land that have been destroyed. Your Royal Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, our broader reset agenda is based on integrity, competence, and accountability. We are restoring trust in public institutions through reforms that include: 1, a national anti-corruption framework integrating procurement and expenditure monitoring systems. 2, a civil service pay for performance which will reward merit and productivity. A reformed Office of the Special Prosecutor with enhanced prosecutorial powers. Digitization of our judicial processes under the Justice Sector Renewal Program. And the introduction of a new law to regulate the divestiture of state assets and require parliamentary approval for divestment of state assets exceeding a specified value. These are not mere promises, they are essential reforms focused on restoring the moral and administrative foundations of our republic. Our development vision is centered on people, inclusive and sustainable development. Through the 24-hour economy initiative, we are stimulating round-the-clock production and service delivery, creating jobs, supporting industry, and enhancing logistics. The Big Push infrastructure program is also investing 38.5 billion Ghana cedis in roads, hospitals, and digital infrastructure. The Feed Ghana Industry Program links agriculture to processing and exports, ensuring value addition and food security. All these initiatives form part of a larger moral vision to ensure Ghana's development never comes at the cost of its soul or its environment. Your Majesty, Nana Osei Tutu II, as we move towards another election season, the media's role in preserving the peace and security of our nation cannot be overstated. Let us shun hate speech, let's avoid inflammatory rhetoric, and verify before we broadcast. Freedom of speech is not the right to sow division. The National Dialogue on Peace and Security, which involves media and faith-based leaders, aims to encourage responsible communication and early detection of conflict triggers. Peace is not the absence of noise, it's the harmony of hearts. The media must serve as a rhythm that sustains that harmony. Tonight, as President of the Republic, on behalf of all Ghanaians, I salute every journalist who continue to speak truth to power, often at significant personal risk. Your integrity strengthens our democracy. To the young journalists here tonight, remember that journalism is not just a profession, it is a calling. It demands courage, humility, and unwavering dedication to the truth. To the GJA, I want to thank you for your partnership in nation building. To our distinguished award winners, I wish to say congratulations. Your work gives meaning to our democracy and gives hope to our people. And to His Majesty, Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, your leadership in promoting peace and unity remains an enduring inspiration to us all. Under your wise guidance, Ashanti continues to symbolize harmony and national pride. In conclusion, let us remember the words of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, he says, "The press must be the vigilant watchdogs of the people and not the lapdogs of the powerful. You must be the vigilant watchdogs of the people and not the lapdog of the powerful." My administration would uphold that vigilance. We will safeguard press freedom, we will protect journalists, and ensure that truth remains the foundation of our governance. Under my government, no journalist will have to flee into exile for fear of their lives. Together, governments, media, and citizens, we can build a Ghana that is ethical in governance, honest in speech, peaceful in spirit, and united in purpose. May the pen always remain mightier than fear. May truth continue to light our path, and may God continue to bless our homeland, Ghana. I thank you.
Thank you very much.
And Your Excellency, respectfully, please remain with us here.
Please don't go.